Good evening, all of you. I hope all of you are hale and hearty and you are preparing for CMAT. Right, let's begin with today's session. Okay, let's go to the beginning of our slide. Right, so today we'll talk about the popular CMAT previous year questions, okay, from the English section. That's what we are going to do today. I have again tried to have a variety of questions. So we'll see questions from vocabulary, grammar, a couple from logic, right? So that there is variety. Also, I've tried to pick up those that you might find slightly tricky to navigate because I feel that it's the tricky ones only that become popular, isn't it? So that's why such questions I have picked up for you. The idea is also to teach you some concepts along the way, okay, and not just attempt, let's say, not just see the past year papers, but also learn some concepts, some grammar concepts, some vocabulary words along the way. All right. Good evening, Anandu. So let's begin with our session for the day. Okay, so I already conducted a session where I talked about how to tackle CMAT English. So in case you are confused about the English section in particular, you can go and watch that session. It's available over YouTube. Today the focus will be on attempting questions. So here's a question in front of your screens. It's a vocabulary question, right? Let's see what you tell me as the answer for this, right? You have to choose the word that most nearly expresses what this statement says. Yes. Good evening, sweetie. Let's see what you guys say about this question. Okay. One who is extremely fond of his wife. What do you think? So these are supposed to be your time-saving questions, synonym, antonym questions, vocabulary questions. All right, let's see what you say. Okay, I've got one response. Others? Okay, okay. So all three responses say B. Okay, B. All right, good. All of you are correct. B is the answer here. Uxorious. Now, why did I choose this question? See, here this is one word substitution. So the question type is familiar to you, right? However, if let's say you have practiced etymology, yes, what is etymology? Basically studying through the root word technique. So if you have practiced words using etymology, you would have realized that this agsar here, agsar means wife. Agsar means wife. Okay. Meritus means husband. So these are roots. Okay. Agsar. So for instance, now how do I know this? So I read about these sides. Okay. Side means to kill, basically killing. That means side. So uxoricide is the killing of one's wife. Meriticide is the killing of one's husband. Right. So that's how I know that okay, uxor is a root that means wife, and meritus is a root that means husband. Okay, sorry. Yes. Right, last time, because last year, okay, that's amazing. See, actually watching such sessions on vocabulary helps you a lot. Okay, so how do I also learn about vocabulary? By, okay, fine, practicing from vocabulary books, but at the same time I play some vocabulary games. Okay, I watch some sessions. So I'm very interested in podcasts that talk about vocabulary. So all, learning new words through various media, that actually helps you a lot when it comes to vocabulary. Right. So, good, Ashish. Uxorious means somebody who is extremely fond of his wife, and this word has a slightly negative connotation. It's not a positive word. Okay. So, if I call someone an uxorious husband, that is not taken as a compliment. Okay. So something that you should know, the connotations associated with word, with this, the connotation is negative. Utopia. I think we know the meaning of utopia. Yes, utopia. Some tips for English, Tanu, okay? Yes, Jagdish, Crime Patrol should actually teach these words. I agree. Okay, Tanu, I will give some tips. I have given some tips about how to tackle the English section for CMAT in this section, in this session called "How to Tackle English for CMAT English." Okay, so you can watch the entire session. Okay, I'll give some today as well. All right. So utopia, dystopia. In fact, in CAT 2021, you had a passage that talked about utopia and dystopia, right? So utopia is how an ideal world would look like. Basically, a conception of an ideal world. That is utopia, where everybody is happy, all the policies are good policies, right? So it's an ideal world. And usually it's called an ideal imaginary world, something that cannot be reached, right? So when we talk about something that is imaginary and ideal, that is when we use the word utopia. Dystopia is the exact opposite, right? You must have heard of dystopian novels, dystopian TV shows, those that show an imagined future world where everything is, where people are not happy, things are far, far from ideal, right? People are dissatisfied, disoriented. That is a dystopian world. Okay, so now we have some questions. How to prepare for English for CMAT if we start today? Okay, from the basics. See, in case let's tackle this question. What are the areas that you have to prepare for? So first of all, in the English section, you have 25 questions plus 4 for a correct answer, minus 1 for an incorrect answer. So this is our framework. Now, these 25 questions, they are basically from areas, these areas, RC passages, then you have vocab, you have grammar, okay, and miscellaneous things like parajumbles at times, sentence jumbles at times, and let's say critical reasoning, or basically paragraph based questions, a short paragraph and then there will be a single question after it. It could be a central idea question, etc. Right? So I'm calling this para based singlet. Right? In vocabulary, you do have idioms as well. You do get idioms as well. So these are the areas that you have to prepare for. Now, assuming that you have taken some other exams, RC passages is an area that you must have practiced earlier as well, right? And RC passages is again an area where, let's say, if you did the past year papers and you attempted RC passages there, you would get an idea of the level of RC that is expected from you. And trust me, the level for CMAT is not really that high. So honestly, you need not worry about CMAT RC passages because they don't tend to be very difficult. And even if one or two questions are difficult, you can focus on the other direct questions, right? So that this is one area that you can practice. So past year papers will give you an idea of the level of RC passages. And trust me, it's not difficult at all. Now, coming to, okay, yes, 20 questions. My bad. Okay, right. So, vocabulary including idioms. Now, for vocabulary, just a second, I got some comments. New words, okay, vocabulary, some PDF of vocabulary. Okay. I'll share in our Telegram group. I will share a PDF. I have shared Barron's list earlier. I'll share Barron's list and a couple of other lists also, right? So that could serve as your guiding light. Yes, you could actually memorize those words. In case, let's say, rote memorization proves to be problematic for you, then I have suggested word par made easy to you. And yes, you can do it. In a month, you can do word par made easy. It's not a big deal. Okay, so even if you start from the scratch today, when it comes to vocabulary, you can do word par made easy. You can, in fact, do a couple of other sources in addition. So, for instance, I just mentioned Barron's list, right? You can, in fact, a fun way, you can make it fun for yourself. So, for instance, I find learning idioms and phrases to be a very tedious exercise, okay? Because I primarily feel that it's something that you learn through reading, okay? So, what did I do? I downloaded an app of idioms and phrases. Okay, there are plenty available. I have an app that's called idioms and phrases, right? And then I keep on, let's say, looking up some idioms or the other every other day. So that way, okay, it keeps on adding also to my vocabulary, and I don't feel that pain also that, okay, every single day I am, let's say, learning 30, 40 idioms. That's not something that I do. So this could be for vocabulary. For grammar, again, in fact, I made this short video as well. Okay, so a hypersensitive writing pad, right? I made a short video also wherein I told you that if even if you read about 7 to 8 pages of Ren and Martin every day, no, you can finish the relevant portions of Ren and Martin for yourself. Because see, it talks about grammar also and composition also. So the grammar part is important for you. You can finish it in a month. In 1 month, you can finish the entire Renan Martin or Raymond Murphy if you prefer that one. So, along with the exercises, because after every chapter there are exercises, and that's important for us. So, basically, it's not, if you're thinking that, okay, we are late, how can we prepare from right now if we haven't done that? CMAT is not such an exam where you need to worry so much. Okay, even if you start from today, you will be able to cover these elements and you'll get ample time for all your sections, not just English. Right? So, for instance, word per made easy will take just 20 minutes maximum out of your day. Reading 7 to 8 pages of Ren and Martin again will take half an hour out of your day. So you have time for your other sections as well. Parajumbles is not something, again, if you have taken CAT, you must have practiced amply for parajumbles. And here you have options. So again, you need not worry. Sentence jumbles, very easy. You don't even need to practice for this. Just see the past year questions. That's it. Okay. Para-based singlets, this is more or less a central idea question, a main idea question. So if you are good at RC passages, if you are able to gauge the main idea of an RC passage, then you'll be very easily able to gauge the idea of a paragraph. Right? So these are the 4 areas. Now let me read your comments. Okay. All right. I'm not able to remember. Okay. So for retention, see, if you find retention to be a problem, so first thing is revision. That everybody has to do. I did word power made easy years back. Okay. But still sometimes I open it just to see how much I remember. Okay. Just to brush up things. So revision is important, and even more effective is using those words. So I use those words in my conversation, in my writing, right? So that helps me in retaining those words. So these two exercises, first is revision. So at the end of a week, let's say you revise all the words that you've learned that week. And second is use them, okay, in your conversations, in your writing. Another thing is that, okay, you watch, so whatever watching time you assigned for yourself, you watch things that use a good level of vocabulary. You read things that use a good level of vocabulary. So this is how you can actually learn, remember, retain the words that you've learned earlier. Right? Okay. Jagdish, yes, even this is an effective technique. If you have the time, you can actually write down that word that proves to be effective. Okay, so again, I used to have this notebook. I still have kept that register wherein I used to write the words that I would pick up from newspapers, etc. Right? So that helped me. So if you have that kind of time, it also depends on your other commitments. Then yes, by all means, if you pick up some new word, write down its meaning, make a sentence out of it. These things help. Okay. Uh, all right. What is utopia? Utopia is an imagined ideal world where everybody is happy, everything is just perfect. That is utopia. Okay. All right. So this cannot be the answer. Polygamist. Now, polygamist. What does this mean? Polygamist. Poly means okay, so Tanu, the Baron's 800 list that I'll share with you that has words, its meaning, some synonyms and antonyms as well, right? I'll share it with you. Poly means many. So Aishwarya, what we have right now is we have a blanket batch. So it's called a CAT batch, but it's not that we are preparing you just for CAT in that batch. We prepare you for all management entrance exams. Because see, broadly, the areas for all management entrance exams are more or less the same. Just that CAT is not asking you vocabulary and grammar, but we have vocabulary and grammar sessions, a lot of them, in our usual batches as well. Because we assume automatically that a student is not just preparing for CAT, right? So we have a blanket CAT batch. Okay. Which book is best to cover all subjects? Uh, okay, one book. All right. Uh, I'll let me think and I'll tell you. Okay, because again, with English particularly, the problem is that a lot of books, when it comes to the answers are erroneous. Some of them have really good passages, really good grammar questions, but the answers are sometimes erroneous. Okay, so give me some time. I'll tell you. Okay, multiple marriages, absolutely correct. So polygamist, poly means many, gamy is used for, it's a root for marriage. Polygamist is a person who has basically had multiple marriages. Okay, who is involved in multiple marriages. That person is a polygamist, right? So if I talk about mythology, then Draupadi had married many men, right? So she was a polygamist as per our mythology. Okay. Recluse. Recluse. It's a noun. Now see, I'll never use it as an adjective. She is a recluse. I'll say that. If I have to make an adjective out of it, then I'll say she is a reclusive person. She is a reclusive person. Right? No, Aishwarya. Tanu, I cannot attach PDFs here in the chat. I'll send them in our Telegram group. Okay? Okay. So, recluse is somebody who, if you call someone reclusive, does that mean that they're very social people? The life of parties, extroverted people? So, Aishwarya, I can't say that these online lectures are enough because, see, all of these things, they're very personal. It will depend on what is the level of your preparation. Have you taken these exams before? How aware are you of the framework, the format, right? All of those things. But what I would suggest is that, okay, you can, if let's say you're preparing for just one exam, just CET, let's say, then attempt one of its past year papers and you'll get to know your level. See what is required and where you stand, and if there is a significant gap, then you can consider taking a coaching, right? Uh, Link for the group. Right. Please, I'll request our team to post the link for the group. I'll also give you this link towards the end of the session. Okay. So wait with me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Jitendra. Right. Now, recluse is somebody who is not a very social person who likes to stay alone, right? They don't like to meet a lot of new people. Such people are reclusive. Okay. So these people are not very social. These people are rather asocial. So here the answer was uxorious, but see, we learned a lot many other words through this question. That is the purpose of doing vocabulary questions with you. Now, here's an important grammar concept. Let me see what you mark, what you give me the answer, right? Good evening, Abhishek. Yes, what do you say? If, whether, what should come? You can reach out to me again via Telegram. I am available there. My name over Telegram is Nikita Gupta only. I'm there in our Telegram group as well, right? So our team, can you please share the link for our Telegram group? That's that's amazing, Abhishek. Good. Keep up at it, okay? And yes, anybody who is consistent is rewarded. C D. All right. So some of you say C, some of you say D. Any other responses? So you feel that okay, different words should come in the two blanks. So that's why it can't be A or B. That's what you guys feel. But you are confused between C and D. Okay, so this is a very interesting concept actually, and something that students find very confusing. Where to use whether, where to use if. Just remember a simple rule. Whether is used when you have two alternatives. When you have two alternatives. So whenever you see the presence of a choice, whenever you can look at a sentence, so I am ready to take the test now or not. There is a choice there. No, I don't know dash, I am ready to take the test now. So she doesn't, basically she doesn't know whether she is ready to take the test or she is not ready to take the test. So there is a presence of alternatives there. Whenever that is the case, we use whether. So the answer should be D. Okay, now why if here? Whenever you have a condition, not alternative. See, so she is thinking, if I will ever be ready in the future. This is conditional, right? This is a future condition. If I will ever be ready in the future. You can't put or not here, right? If I will ever be ready in the future, or not seems very superfluous here. This is a condition and not really about alternatives. So here we should write if, and therefore D is the answer. Right? Good. So whether, if, those who said D, you are correct. Okay. Now, these types of questions, see, if you do the basic grammar concepts, no, these questions, these types will be covered there. Right? So, and it's not like they appear a lot in CMAT. Basically, grammar questions are the ones that appear a lot. So FIB is based on grammar. Yes, I do agree that FIB is based on grammar appear. So for that, you just need to be clear with your basic grammar concepts. And that is why I have suggested a grammar book to you. Right? So if and whether are often interchangeable. This is Merriam-Webster talking, but they have distinct uses. For clarity, it is best to use whether in reference to a choice or alternatives. See this. We are going whether it rains or not. So there are alternatives. No, it may rain, it may not rain. And if when establishing a condition, we will go if it does not rain. If it does not rain. You can't put or not here. Right? So this is how we should use them. All right. So I hope this is clear. For three conditions, see, whenever there are alternatives, okay, whenever there is a presence of alternative, you use whether. And normally in such situations, when we use whether, there are only two alternatives. Okay. Where can we learn and how can to remember them? So Deepal, I'll share some PDFs with you, right? And to remember them, I have already told you that the solution is that you revise. So let's say you can decide the interval for yourself. So on Saturday, let's say I'll revise those words that I've learned from Sunday to Friday, right? So that is something that you can do. One is revision. The other is using them. So make sentences out of those words. So that's what WordPad Made Easy also makes you do. No, it makes you write those words. It makes you pronounce those words. It makes you guess those words. So basically engage with those words. That's the idea. Whether you revise them, whether you use them in conversations, in writing, that is how you remember words. And the other is reading. See, when you read, let's say I learned some word. Now, if I don't come across it ever again in my life, I'll of course forget it. But if I read good stuff, if I read newspapers with a good level of vocabulary, then I may come across that word again. It's a very high probability. So when we immerse, how do we immerse in a language? Reading, writing, listening, and speaking. So put that word in all these four areas and you'll not forget it. All right. RCs that's a very tricky question, Pratik. There have been years when there has been just one RC. There have been years with two RCs. Okay, last year we had just two RCs in one slot, right, with 5 questions, whereas the other slot had 14 questions from RC. So there's no point in guessing the number of RCs, right? All right. Coming to the questions. Okay, we have to do the questions also, right? Let's see this. This is a word usage question. You have had many such questions in the past few years, so that's why I'm going to focus a bit on these types of questions. knowing how to use a word. Okay, so tell me, where, in which sentence has this word been used accurately? Just a second. Okay. Please select the sentence that makes the no inaccurate use, that makes the inaccurate use of this word diffuse. Yes, inaccurate use of the word diffuse. Yes, Abhishek, I did. It's the wedding season. So, what do you say? Okay. Ishika says A, Anush says A, Anshu says C. Uh, this is the link. See, you were asking for the Telegram link, no? So this is the link right in your chat box. Okay. D, A, C. Only B is left. Okay. So this question can become easy for us if we know the meaning of the word diffuse. Diffuse means to spread, right? It means to spread. So now, the problem is how to diffuse power, how to spread power, how to spread power without creating anarchy. Because if power is not concentrated, if everybody has power, then it might result in nobody actually ruling, right? Anarchy means when there is no one single person, no authority, not just one single person, when there is no authority that is ruling. So ana means no, arcane means to rule. So it means no authority that is ruling. So if you spread power a lot, then this might happen. So this is fine, diffusing power. Technologies diffuse, which means spread rapidly. This also makes sense. The moon was fuller than the night before. But the light was diffused. Again, it was dispersed. It was dispersed in a way by clouds, right? So this is also fine. It was in a way spread or dispersed, in a way diluted by cloud. So these three are correct. It's A that has the inaccurate use of the word diffuse, right? He was modest and diffuse about his own success. So he was spread about his own success does not make sense. That's why A is the incorrect one. Right? Hope this is clear to everybody. So word usage, for that you need to know the meaning of the word. You need to be clear about it and go for elimination always. So this is how, okay, first attempt this, then I'll tell you the importance of this question. Yes. Anarchy is a situation, Aishwarya, where there is no authority that is ruling a country. Okay, so anarchy usually results in chaos. As a political philosophy, you can have peaceful anarchies also, wherein people are so advanced that they don't need a government, they don't need anybody ruling over them. But this is just a theoretical concept. We haven't seen this in application in any country. So, usually in those countries where there are dictators who are then assassinated or killed, and there's a power vacuum, nobody is ruling for a while, that is a situation of anarchy. Okay, so everyone says C so far. All right. Okay, so this is how CMAT has been asking voice questions, active passive voice. Okay, they'll just give you a sentence and they'll say this means the same as, and then basically they'll just translate it to, if it's active, they'll translate it to passive voice and vice versa. So you need to be clear with the concept of voice to attempt this question, right? However, this was an easy one because you could eliminate easily. The idea is not that one day he read it, the idea was that he read it in one day. So eliminated, one in one day is missing here. Then one day Raghav reads the novel, no. So C is the answer here. This one was pretty simple. Okay, so voice is a topic that we need to be well versed with. Now this, okay, I didn't notice this. A has been covered. So option A is 1F. 2J, 3J. So this is an FIJ question. In case you have seen the past year papers, you must have seen that in the in CAT 2019 and 18, I believe, you were asked these questions: fact, inference, judgment. The good thing about these questions is they define what these words mean. What is the meaning of fact, inference, judgment, and accordingly you have to answer the question. So that makes them pretty logical. They are a part of verbal logic, right? So power outage, don't worry. The electricity will be back in a few minutes, right? So you look at this question, read these definitions, and then tell me what the answer should be. Yes. Let's see what you say. Facts are those that can be verified. That's what I gathered from statement 1. Inferences have a premise conclusion relationship, right? So you are drawing conclusions on the basis of something. And judgments are simply these statements that talk about someone's likes, dislikes, approval, disapproval, right? So they could be biased also, they could be colored also, isn't it? So let's see what the answer should be. I've got one response. Okay. Hmm. So can you hear the clouds thundering? It's raining here, and probably that's why there was a power outage. Okay. CABD. Okay. So I've got three A's. All right. Okay. So, you say that first one is a fact because a lot of you are saying A in overwhelming numbers, right? So, first of all, see, they cannot be inferences. None of them can be an inference. That is something that we need to be clear about. Why? Why is that the case? Let's see. Inference, I told you, has a premise conclusion relationship. So, minimum two statements will be there. One will be on the basis of which you will draw the conclusion, right? So one will be a premise, and on the basis of this you will draw a conclusion. But I don't see two statements in any of these. You need minimum two statements for this now. So no, there's just one statement in each of these. So inference is out of the window, right? So these statements can either be facts or judgments. That's it. Now let's see. So 2 and 3, I don't even need to bother about them. Why? Because in both the cases, they are judgments. And it's very logical also. God exists. Some of you might say, oh yes, God does exist. Then some of you might say, no, God does not exist. It's a matter of belief, isn't it? So, because this is a matter of belief and people are going to differ here, and it's not also something that you can verify, right? So, judgment. Wine tastes better than beer. Is it an established fact? Were some objective tests run to find out this? Some of you might disagree that no, beer tastes better than wine, right? So again, a judgment. Now, the first one, a lot of you are saying that this is a fact. God created the earth. Can this be verified? See, you can verify. First of all, when will you be able to verify this? When you know what God is. Do you know who or what God is? Is that a verifiable fact? Has this been proven or disproven? Then how can we check and verify this that God created the earth? And if we can't check this, in that case, how can this be a fact? Right? So this is an opinion again. And when we talk about personal opinions, they become judgments. So our answer should be B, Bangalore. Okay. All of these are judgments. right? All of these are judgments. Okay. Can I please explain the question? Sure. See, in this question, you are given various statements, as you can see here, and you have to find out what is their nature. Now, the big help is that they have even defined when will you call something a fact? When it is open to discovery or verification. When will you call something an inference? When on the basis of something that is known to you, you draw a conclusion. So, for instance, I I have sneezed 10 times today. Okay, no, I haven't. I'm just saying this. Okay, I may have a cold. Okay, I may have, I do have a cold. I may have the flu. So let's say, yeah, right. So I may have the flu. So on the basis of this, what was known to me, I derived a conclusion. This is an inference. This is an inference, right? Judgments. Oh, I dislike that mobile, right? That music was too loud. His voice is harsh. These are all personal opinions. No, they'll vary from people to people. So that's why these are judgments. So that is the definition. Now you just had to see whether this was something that is verifiable. No. How do we verify this? How do we verify this? This is something that's very personal. It's an opinion. Different people will say different things. So there is no one yes or no answer. Yes. And that's why this is also a judgment. Hope this is clear to everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Sony. Okay. Yes, correct, Ishika. Inference is a conclusion that is drawn on the basis of something that is known to you. So you need to first state that known thing and then you derive the unknown conclusion. Okay. So you need to have two pieces there. That the piece that is known is called the premise, and the what you derive from that piece, that known piece, is called conclusion. Okay. Now an easy question for you. Very easy question. Pick out the correct sentence. Yes. Let's see what you say. What is a premise? Premise means the basis for saying something. What is my base? Okay, of saying something. So my very foundation of saying something, of giving an opinion, that foundation is called the premise. Okay, B is what you say. A lot of you. Okay, A, B. Okay, so this is something that is there in word power. I think you will encounter this. It talks about what is correct. 2 spoonfuls of sugar. Give me 2 spoonfuls of sugar, or give me 2 spoons full of sugar. Which is correct? Okay, but I've got one D also here. Ishita says D. Tejasvi also says D. Acha, tell me this one. Spoonfuls or spoons full? One or two? One or two? Okay, B, C, D. Okay, so here the answer is D, Delhi. He has two brothers-in-law. Okay, and ideally this should be put in hyphens because it's an exam question. I copied it as it is. But ideally there should be hyphens here. So what, because law is one only, no? According to the law, right? We say that, when I say brothers-in-law, basically I'm trying to say they are my brothers according to law, by law. They are my brothers, right? So law is the same. It's one law, not multiple laws. And but your brothers are two. So the S should be placed with brothers and not with laws. Okay, it's a very common error. It's a very common error, right? Uh, when we use the word in-laws, right? Her in-laws are saying that this is just colloquial spoken English. we should say, okay, when we say sister-in-laws, that is again incorrect. Sisters-in-law, right? If we are talking about many of them. Now, one of you says spoonsful. Okay, two spoonsful. All right, I've got a lot of twos. Deepal says one. Acha, tell me. Um, am I giving you two separate spoons here? So let's say I two spoons full of sugar. If you say this, let's say first I use this spoon to pour the sugar. Then am I using a different spoon to pour sugar? Or am I using this one spoon to pour sugar twice? I am using one spoon to pour sugar twice. So it should be spoonfuls and not spoons full. This is wrong. Okay, this is correct. Two spoonfuls. I hope this makes sense because it's one spoon only that is being filled twice. All right. Coming to the next question. Again, a word usage question. As I told you that there have been some questions of this type lately. So let's see. Choose the sentence that uses the word apprise correctly. Apprise. There's just one sentence that's using it correctly. Okay, I'll tell you, Rohit. Uh, okay, so one book that you were asking me, I was just thinking about it, and you could refer Wiley. Okay, Wiley publication. You could refer their book. Okay, for your RC passages, for your grammar, vocabulary, etc. Okay. Word par maybe is it enough? See, when it comes to vocabulary, I can't say that anything is enough as such because we don't know the exact questions that are going to come in the exam. But yes, it does give you a base of 1200 words. Even if let's say your vocabulary is good, it will make you learn at least 1200 new words in a month. So this is something that you can do. Then past year papers will also add a bit to your vocabulary. So let's say you end up learning about 200, 300 words from there, right? Then apart from that, if you go for one vocabulary list, right? So for instance, I've been suggesting Barron's list to you, right? So Barron's 800 list. So I think this is what we can do on our part, right? This is something that we can do on our part. This is doable, and that's why we are doing this much. Whether it is enough or not, I can't give you a 100% guarantee for that, right? Okay, okay. For idioms, you were asking me about idioms. There is this app that you can refer. It's called Idioms and Phrases. There are a number of other apps also. So you can try on your own and decide which one you want to go for. Currently, I'm using this one, so I've suggested this to you. Okay. All right. C, D, B. I've got multiple responses here. Okay. Again, we need to know the meaning of apprise. And actually, this question thrives on these two commonly confused words, apprise and appraise. To appraise something is to evaluate it. Employees have a performance appraisal, no? I don't know why this is, I'll get it checked. My screen is a bit too sensitive somehow. Right. Uh, so appraise, performance appraisal. Employees have a performance appraisal at the end of every year, usually. So it's a performance evaluation. Their performance is appraised, evaluated, right? So if we see here, the problem is obviously one of deciding how to probably evaluate, right? How to appraise the evidence presented here. How to evaluate. So this is wrong here. A can't be the answer. B, they should have taken the time to dash the changing political scenario. Again, to basically evaluate, analyze. So again, I need appraise here, not apprise. See, let's dash the advantages of air travel. Okay, so let's discuss perhaps. Again, you are analyzing, discussing. So apprise is not the word because apprise means to inform. Apprise means to inform. And it is followed by off. It is followed by off. Always. So in these sentences, there was no off. So in case you were aware of this fact, then you could reject A, B, and C. The assistant will apprise the director of the situation, will basically make the director aware of the situation. Right? So D, Delhi is our answer. Yes, Aishwarya, our PDF is available. I'll share it in our Telegram group. Okay, the link for that is there on your in your chat box currently. Right? Good. Everything's here. Absolutely correct. Now coming to for sources of RCs. See, CMAT RCs are not so challenging that you'll need a lot of extra practice for them. If you go through the past year papers and you have practice for, let's say, exams like SNAP, okay, so the level is more or less similar to SNAP. That's something that I can say, right? So just go through your past year non-CAT exam papers and those will be enough for RC passages, right? Okay. Now, see this question here. See this question here. Which sentence makes the correct use of since? Which sentence makes the correct use of since? That's what you have to tell me. Let's see. Okay, so Tejasvi, to answer this, basically there is a detailed link. There's detailed information regarding this on the BYJU'S exam prep website. I will share that entire link with you in the Telegram group, okay, and it will become clearer to you as to how to prepare for this. Uh, I hope you have if you are aware of the ZAT section, right, DM section of ZAT, then I think you do have some idea of how to actually tackle this, right? But for a detailed explanation, I'll share that entire link. I think that will be better, right? First, we need to study tenses or parts of speech. We first see, Archit, tenses are a part of verbs. So when you are studying parts of speech, usually we begin with nouns, pronouns. This is what we begin with. When you get to verbs, no, in that itself, you should go for learning about the properties of verbs. So tenses is a property of a verb. Voice is another property of a verb. And mood is again a third property, which is not something that's very major. So these you should study when you study verbs. And if you see, then in grammar books, usually you will see that, okay, after verbs, you do have a chapter on tenses as well, right? Okay, A, C. That's what I have got. Let's see which is correct. So this is a grammar question essentially, not really a word usage question, but a grammar question. Testing whether you know when to use since as a preposition and when to use for as a preposition. Since is used when we talk about a time point. For is used when we talk about a time period. Right? So, 4 hours. 4 hours. Is it a point of time? 4 hours. Like 4 p.m., 5 p.m. That is a point of time. 4 hours is a period of time. So, since is wrong here. It should be for. You had to find out the correct one. C. The family has been abroad. Okay, Anush, I'll do that. The family has been abroad since 1998. Yes, this is a point of time. This is a point of time, right? 1998 is one single point. The entire year is being taken as a point here. So see, since most of my life, is most of your life one single point? No, it's a period that you're talking about. So for most of my life. And what should be okay, Ashwarya, I'll share it with you again in the Telegram group. So I'll share the variance list, I'll share this PDF, and there was something else that you asked me. Just remind me towards the end of the session. Okay. Can I prepare for CMAT according to the last year's exam? Just Pratik, just incorporate the changes in the number of questions, okay, that have happened this year, okay, and yes, then accordingly you can prepare, keeping in mind the past year papers. The past year papers serve as your guiding light. Yes. Then yes, what preposition should come here instead of since? She worked in the college dash 1996 to 2001 dash 1996 to 2001. Easy one. From two. From 1996 to 2001. But if you use between, then you can't use to. Then it is wrong. Between 1996 and 2001. Between is always followed by and from is followed by to when we are giving a range. Okay, remember that. All right. Let's see this one. I included this question because there is a concept involved here, and in a lot of websites give the incorrect answer for this one. That's why I included this question. Let's see what you say. Devashmita, there is a link in the chat box. This link has appeared twice or thrice. It's called to interact with our experts. Yes, here. The link is here again. So Devashmita, just click on this link and you can join the Telegram group. Okay. Sony says A. Others. All right. A. Okay. So we want him to be the teacher. That's what a lot of you are saying. You have to read the whole sentence. We want dash who has the best rapport with the students. We want, in a way, that kind of a teacher who has the best rapport with the students. That's what you're trying to say. So I think we desire the teacher to be him, we anticipate the teacher to be him. These could be easily eliminated. Now, the choice is between A and B, and a lot of websites give A as the answer. However, A is not the answer. B should be the answer here. We want the teacher to be him. No, we want the teacher to be he who has the best rapport. He who has the best rapport. Okay. Why? Why is this the case? Why should I say we want the teacher to be he who has the best rapport? We want the teacher to be he. Why am I saying this? Okay. Now, the thing is, you are basically, you're talking about something that you desire, something that you want, right? Uh, if you look at this sentence, there's no action that is happening here. There's no action that is happening here. Now, this, if you say him here, if I take another example, uh, he who has the highest marks, he who scores the highest wins. He who scores The highest wins, or him who scores the highest wins. Him who scores the highest. Of course, you will say he here, right? Because I am then describing this he. Because then I am describing this he, right? Similarly, here when I am further describing this, so he who has the best rapport, that will be the construction. And before this, there is no action that has happened. No action has happened in this area. So when there is no action happening, this is an object. This is an objective pronoun. If there is no action, then we cannot have an object because object is the receiver of the action. So there is no action that has happened in this part. So there cannot be an object here. And that's why we will need a subjective pronoun. This is the grammar concept of it. Right? Oh, sorry for this. Just a second. Huh? Right. So I hope this is clear to you. This is a relatively complex concept. We want the teacher to be he who has the best rapport. Right? Okay. So this is our answer. B, option B. And I hope the screen is visible again to everybody. And I'll get my laptop checked. Now, let's say this one. Okay, so you're talking about vocabulary, Mihir. Here's a vocabulary question. There was a dash possibility that war would be declared soon. What would you say? Hmm. There was a dash possibility that war would be declared soon. Just a couple of questions left. Be participative. B, D, all right. D, A. There was a probable possibility. Does that make sense? Probable possibility. Wouldn't that be repetition? Unnecessary repetition. Possibility means it's a synonym for probability in a way. So A can be eliminated. See, dubious, when you are doubtful of something, that is when you call it dubious. There was a dash possibility that war would be declared soon. This doesn't seem like something that the speaker is doubtful of. So, usually students get confused between B and D here. And the answer here is B, Bangalore. Okay, distinct. There was a clear possibility. There was a clear possibility that war would be declared soon. Distinctive means something that is characteristic of a person, somebody's distinctive nature. So it's basically what distinguishes you from others. So distinctive is something that distinguishes you from others. So that's not what I mean to say, that there was a unique possibility. I am just saying that there was a clear possibility that war would be declared soon. Hence, B, Bangalore. So, being exposed to a lot of vocabulary questions also helps you to build your vocabulary. Because if you see, the words here were not very difficult. Yet, knowing how to fit them into sentences, that is something that is going to make you better at these questions. Okay. Confused and dash, Sham fumbled to make sense of seemingly inconsistent statements, dashed the patience of his listeners. Yes. So, a question in last year's paper itself. Let's see what you say. A moderate question. Confused and dash, Sham fumbled to make sense of seemingly inconsistent matters. So, what word should come here? See, match it with confused. Confused. Somebody is confused. trying to make sense, okay, very clumsily, very awkwardly, trying to make sense of seemingly inconsistent statements. Inconsistent. Focus on this. Confused, inconsistent. Should it not be incoherent? Why tired? Again, a lot of websites give D as the answer, but D is not the correct answer. No. Confused and incoherent. When you know the statements are inconsistent, right, and you are struggling with it, you are very awkwardly, clumsily trying to make sense of it. So you would be incoherent. You will sound incoherent. Right? So confused and incoherent. Sham fumbled to make sense of seemingly inconsistent statements, oblivious to the impatience of his listeners. Not aware. Okay, not aware of the impatience. Wo aaram se, he was trying to make sense of it. Right. Not at all aware of the impatience of his listeners. Right. So the idea is that he was incoherent. This is the word that directed me to my answer. Now, tired does not fit with confused and inconsistent here as much as incoherent. And what is this? Hearing the impatience of his listeners. How can you hear somebody's impatience? Tell me. Right. So I hope you're also not impatient right now. And I am also not the one who is oblivious. What is prostrate? Prostrate. Yes. So this is your homework. Find out the difference between prostate and prostrate. Commonly confused words. Okay. All right. Idiom. Dipali, so I will see you on the BYJU'S exam prep app now on Saturday at 2 p.m. Okay. There we'll discuss CMAT based verbal reasoning. We'll focus on verbal reasoning there. Okay. All right. So I think this is the last question for the day. So what does it mean to stir up a hornet's nest? Very easy. To stir up a hornet's nest. Incoherent is when your words don't make sense. Okay, you are just mumbling anything. That is when you are incoherent. To stir up a hornet's nest. A hornet is a wasp. You must have heard this in Hindi, no? मधुमक्खी के छत्ते में हाथ डाल देना. In case some of you are aware of this. So, it will not be to quicken an action. No. The answer is A, to create trouble. Absolutely correct. To create trouble. Okay, so A is our answer here. And yes, this is about today. We did some vocabulary questions, some grammar questions, and we also saw one FIJ question because it has appeared in the past. If in case you are interested, you should go through that section, that session called How to Tackle CMAT English, because there also we did 8 to 9 questions, right? And we did one RC. No, we didn't do an RC passage there, but we did attempt a variety of questions there as well, right? And I haven't repeated any of those questions. Okay. So this is it from my side for today. And okay, it came in Snapslot 2 as well. All right. And yes, I'll see you on Saturday at 2 p.m. now. Do join us for the TISNET analysis in case you're taking TISNET. Okay, we'll come live at 5 p.m. right? And we'll give you all these details, cutoff, difficulty level, good attempts, all of these things. This is the schedule for TISNET last lap that is going on. So tomorrow is the last session. Why statistic number series is important for TISNET by Gaurav sir. Do attend it. Okay. It'll happen at 7 p.m. And in case you have taken some exams, you've scored well, you've got calls, then you can actually enroll in this program, the CAT PIVAT program. Again, it's called CAT PIVAT program, but we prepare you for all the exams, right? This is our batch that is currently going on. Okay. And yes, this is the Telegram link. A lot of you were asking me this. This is the link. I am sharing Baron's list here, today's session's PPT, and one or two other things that you asked me. I'll just check in the chat box. It's easy to moderate, Mihir. Okay, and the trick is that you pick up all the direct questions. Right, go for all the direct questions. So if there are, let's say, 14 questions, no, then 70% of these would be more or less direct. Sorry, 70% of these are going to be on the direct side. So the trick is to not get stuck in those indirect ones and go for these direct ones, right? I'm not saying don't attempt those. I'm just saying don't get stuck in those. All right. Okay. So, Chit, you can actually subscribe to our channel, and as and when a CMAT session happens, you'll get a notification. Just press the bell icon and then you'll get a notification, right? We keep on planning sessions for you. All right. So, this is about it from my end. I unfortunately cannot add attachments here, Aishwarya. Okay. So, I'll see you on Saturday at 2 p.m. This is it from my side for today. Have a good night. Thank you for being so patient. Okay. Bye. All the best.